Welcome to the Titan Roundtable. Welcome to the first ever episode. We are missing two of our co-hosts here today. We're missing the Titan Rundown, and we're also missing Tennessee Tough. But we do have me from Titan Talk. We also have Evan from Titan Talk. We also have Luke from Titan Talk. And then we also have Jackson from the Titan Report podcast here. So for this first ever Roundtable episode, we're going to get started off with going over all the draft picks that's happened earlier this month and go over and see what we think about the draft and the highs of the draft and the lows of the draft. And I think we're going to get into some controversy about the draft and our opinions on that. So let's just get it started and talk about the draft. All right, starting off with the NFL draft. So overall, what grade would y'all give the draft as a combined grade?
Well, obviously the Titans, in my opinion, this is a very polarizing draft. From my experience being a Titans fan, I think this is the worst draft before we see how players turn out that I think I've ever saw. Not necessarily because of the big names, but because of the guys we got later on in the draft. So if I had to give this draft a grade, I'm going to give it a D.
A D.
That's a hot take, Luke. That's a hot take, Luke. For me, I'm giving it a B plus. I think that's a solid grade for Borgonzi. You got a lot of good guys in here that can compete for starting roles. Cornell Tate, Kendrick Falk fits Robert Sala's system. Anthony Hill does as well, and I think he's going to compete for a starting linebacker spot. And you got good depth on the offensive line, and that's still the biggest question as we're filming this today. What's going on with the offensive line, especially the interior? But you got pieces for Cam Ward, and that's the biggest thing this draft. You spent on defense. You need to look at offense. You got him a big playmaker in Cornell Tate. You got him in some good offensive line depth that can potentially start. And you got him a good running back that can compete in the backfield and also a backup tight end. So really, I think it's a B+. I think there's still some question marks where these guys are going to go, but there's a lot of development to go. But I think for Mike Borgonzi's second draft, especially how the board went, B+ is fair.
Yeah, before you go over your thoughts, Evan, I do want to get your thoughts on this. Jackson, do you think Nick Singleton is a good running back?
Yeah, man, I do like Nick Singleton. The biggest problem is his injuries, right? The dude over time has had experience in the backfield. Look, Penn State was so bad this year, man. We can't, look, Penn State was just so bad. But it's a guy that's a red zone threat. The Titans have been struggling at getting rushing touchdowns in the last couple years. And I think Singleton's going to compete for a starting running back spot this year. Maybe later on the season, he might start over Pollard. But right now, it's Pollard, Spears, and then Singleton's going to be the third guy. But let me tell you this. Singleton has injury trouble. He got hurt last year. He needs to come back from that. He got surgery in the Senior Bowl, so that's going to set him back a little bit. So we're still wondering if he's going to be out there on Friday. We're not 100% sure, but it's a guy that has good speed. It's a guy that's a receiver out in the backfield. He's going to compete for the running back room. I think it's a good pick, and it's great value where you got him.
That's what I was saying,
Jackson, I think you're a smart guy. Please don't change that. You're saying that you think Nick Singleton is going to compete for a starting job against Tony Pollard, who just ran for 1,000 yards? Mm-hmm. This guy, he's not healthy. We know that. He was Penn State. I'm not saying he's horrible. I'm not saying he's bad at football. He's probably better than me. But was it really a need that we needed a running back?
Yes.
We have Tony Pollard.
Free agent.
You also
They're both free agents,
Pollard
though.
just rushed for over 1,000 yards.
They're both free agents, though. They're not guaranteed to be here next year.
Spears.
He's a free agent.
Well, I understand what we're saying, looking for next year, but I don't know if this is the guy that you want. What happened last time we traded for a guy who was injured? Caleb Farley. We drafted a guy who was injured. Caleb Farley. How'd that work out for us?
Yeah, it's really going to matter what's going to happen in training camp. It's really going to matter what we're going to see on Friday. I don't know if Singleton's going to be out there on the field, but if you really watch the tape and you turn him on, you're going to be like, oh, that's a guy that's going to compete. Again, I'll rephrase it. Is he going to compete early on in the year? No, he's going to wait and sit back there. But if Robert Saleh and Brian Dable come together and be like, hey, we need more force in the running back room, yeah, they may get more snaps to Singleton. That's what I'm saying. And again, to your point about the injuries, yeah, the injuries are scary, right? I'm opposed to that. That's why Singleton fell into the 5th round in this year's draft. But I think if you really are hoping, I'm really banking he'll be healthy. I think he can be. I don't know the severe of his injury right now. Currently, I think he's rehabbing, but once he's out there, once he's healthy, the dude has speed. He has a lot of good traits to him. We don't really know what's going on in the running back room. We don't know what's going on with Pollard or Spears. There's expected to be one or two, but really, what's the problem? Are they going to stay next year? To me, I feel like Pollard's fighting to stay here next year. That's my thing. I think he's fighting to keep a spot on this roster, in my opinion. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
And keep in mind, you still have Khalil Mullings in the backfield. I think
Yeah.
people forgot about him too.
he's
So,
really good. He's really underrated
he's
in my
good.
opinion. The reason I
I mean, I understand these are just opinions, but I'm going to offer a little pushback here. This guy at Penn State, we won't even count last year, but his
Yeah,
3
don't
years
count
other
last
than
year.
that, he has went over 100 and he's went over 150 carries 3 times, and he's never went over 1,100 yards. I just
That's still
don't think
good.
that's the production you want to have.
So you're saying you don't want someone who want so you said Singleton got 1,100. He didn't get over 1,100 yards. You don't like that.
Not necessarily that I don't like just because he didn't hit that parameter, but I'm saying 2 seasons he got a lot of carries, 171 and 172, and he had 1,800 yards to show for combined both of those seasons, which isn't even 1,000 yards a season, considering he had 170 carries each season. I feel like people see his highlight clips and say, all right, this guy's good. Derrick Henry, he had production. All these guys have had big time production. I don't necessarily think that's I don't think that's the kind of caliber running back that's going to really compete for having a starting spot on this roster. Now, I'm not saying that you're saying it's this year, Jackson, but you think that he has a chance next year to be the starting guy. I don't see it.
Could
I
be.
just don't. If Nick Singleton has a 1,000+ yard rushing season for the Tennessee Titans, I will personally walk from the top of Kentucky, the state line, all the way to the bottom of the state, going to Alabama. However long it takes, we'll walk it.
You're
We'll
walking.
record you from the car.
Okay.
That needs to
All
be
right.
a vlog.
yeah, but
I need get your video camera out, Luke.
moving into the next topic here, we talked about the draft picks. Is there what's the draft pick that stands out to you the most out of this whole entire class that you think this guy will provide he will be the most established star from this draft class when we look back at this from years to come, looking back at this 2026 draft class?
When you say most likely to be a star, there's no other answer, in my opinion, than Carnell Tate. He's obviously most likely to be a star. But I'm going to ignore your question, and I'm going to say, who am I going to be the most impressed with? Who do I think that can play 15 years of Pro Bowl caliber football? And I think you have to look to the center that we drafted late in the draft. You got to look at Pat Coogan from Indiana. I think that is the steal of the draft, and I'm not talking about for the Titans. I'm talking about the entire National Football League. I think that is the steal of the draft. He was named what? Offensive player of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
Correct?
that hasn't happened in like 1940 something. Like that's been a long time.
I mean, I don't even know if the forward pass was around in 1940. This guy is an absolute dog. I'm really glad we got him. I think he could obviously compete against Slotman or however you say his Austin.
Yeah.
Oh
Whatever.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too, 100%. Pat Coogan is my guy, right? Pat Coogan was my favorite player coming out of the draft. Nate, we talked about in the show that we did. And you know what? What I've heard is the Titans want Pat Coogan to start. The Titans are highly invested in him. Mike Borgonzi's highly invested in him. They want this kid to start. And look, the thing about Pat Coogan is he can go to guard, he can go to center, wherever you need him to go. He can be at that plug play guy. But Pat Coogan is my one answer. But another answer to keep in mind about is Anthony Hill Jr. The reason why I bring up Anthony Hill Jr. is because Robert Saleh needed a linebacker, and we heard at the NFL Combine he brought it up. He's like, yeah, I need an upgrade at linebacker. I'm not saying Barton's bad, but I think you want an upgrade and you want a guy that you can develop under your own ring. Look, Cedric Gray is going to be one of those guys, and then you want a young piece next to you. I think Hill is going to have to fight for the spot. He's not going to get it right away, But the dude's elite. He blitzes from the linebacker spot. He can absolutely stop the run, which, the Titans struggled last year about that. He has a good size. He plays edge. He could potentially play edge for the Titans. And look, I think coming out of this draft, him and Coogan are the two pro-ready guys besides Cardinal Tate in this draft class. And when you look around this draft class, there's a ton of guys that can be pros. But Anthony Hill coming out of Texas, this is a guy that's going to compete to start day one for the Titans. He's not going to let that linebacker spot go. He's probably going to compete for the my linebacker spot. He's going to be that green dot on the Titans defense. So Hill is my answer because Luke took Coogan and then everybody says Cardinal Tate. So.
All right. For mine, I think that for the draft grade, I'm going to give it a C. I think it was a very polarizing draft. The first 2 rounds were really good. They had a few gems that slipped through to later rounds, but for the most part, it was a pretty slow. There wasn't as much talent there. But for my pick of the draft, I think for the Titans, I'm going to say them panic picking Carnell Tate is going to be really good. I feel like he is going to actually get a chance this season, unlike Xavier Restrepo. And I think he's going to really provide and really do good for the Titans. But NFL overall, the person I want to watch the most out of this draft would be Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain, you could tell by the way that he presented himself, he means business going into this next season. I think that on the Bucs, he's really going to give the Falcons a big problem, especially with Tua and Penix.
I'll tell you what, me and Evan watched the draft together, and had the Titans have drafted Ruben Bain, we probably would have still been belly-to-belly hugging. I completely agree with Elvin. Ruben Bain, I think, would have been a great pick for the Titans. I know you disagree, Nate, and I'll say this about Carnell Tate. You mentioned him, Evan. I don't necessarily know that it was a panic pick. I think that what happened was the Tennessee Titans were going to get the best weapon for Cam Ward to help the offense. Jeremiah Love went right off the board, so I think they went with the next best weapon. I think that was their mindset in the 4th pick.
You don't think it was Jordan Tyson?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
Never will I.
I feel like with the Titans, they saw Love go the pick before, right before. That's what they were all in on wanting. I feel like they panic pick Carnell Tate because they know they could have traded back. They could have got him at like pick 8, pick 10. I think he would have dropped back a little bit. And I feel like pick 4 was really early to get him.
That's where I disagree at. I think he would have been gone by pick 5 to 6. Because, if you look at the teams that were available, I think... in all honesty, I could have seen the Giants drafting him. If they didn't go if we took Arvell Reese, I think Carnell Tate might have been their pick, because with an injury-prone receiver like Malik Neighbors, and they also lost their wide receiver too to us earlier in the offseason. So I think they would need a reliable target for Jackson Dart going into year 2 that he does not have in Malik Neighbors, because he's been injured the past 2 seasons. So I don't agree with you there. For my draft grade overall, I would give this an A-. I was pleased by this draft as I was the year before this. I really like the 25 draft class, and I really like this 26 draft class. I think this one might be a little bit less better than last year's. I think last year's was way better than, or not way better, I think it was better than this. But I think if you look at, I think we drafted depth for positions that we needed depth in, while also drafting towards our needs at the same time, which I think that's what's going to help this team going forward.
Yeah, and going off of this
discussion... I don't
discussion,
agree with you, Nate.
What?
We talked about it on the podcast, but I'm going to mention it here real quick. You keep on saying we drafted depth. We need corners. We need offensive tackles, offensive guards. We need edge rushers. Instead, we went what? Defensive tackle, running back. We got a
Oh, we
tight
got we got
end.
we got a good tackle. We signed a good tackle from Emil Wagner from Notre Dame, UDFA, who might start. He's good. He
We
might get a
also
chance to be a swing tackle too.
drafted Carmona guard and then Falk. Well, the other first
Mhm.
round pick we hadn't even talked about. I completely
No,
glanced over that.
I
Falk
think
at
everybody's
one
been
at
forgetting
31.
about that.
Yeah, I think I, if you're talking about defensive wise edge rushers, yeah, he won't be the most polished. He won't be the most flashy edge rusher in the world. He's not going to be the guy that just completely destroys the right tackle or left tackle and gets to the quarterback.
Mhm.
He's more of like a guy who can play that role well than he's just going to be really good at that position. I feel like it's not going to be something that you notice right off the gate, but I think his impact will be felt on the field playing in the game. I think that's what this edge rusher room needed, right? I think if you look at our
Yeah.
edge rusher pick from last year, Femi Oladejo, I think he's extremely underrated. I think he will be take
Mhm.
a huge step forward this year because he got injured. I think week 5 or 4 last year, and
5,
I
yeah.
think Femi is a monster. I think you'll see that this year, and I think with his development with Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley on this coaching
Yeah.
staff, I think that a lot of teams are going to be surprised that face the Titans this year.
Yeah, and let me bring up the rotation. Everybody's gonna rotate this year. I think we're gonna get more years of Jeff Simmons because Saul is gonna rotate these. Falk is gonna come in. You're gonna see Jermaine Johnson come in. You're gonna see John Franklin Myers. So everybody is gonna be well rested because all these guys are gonna rotate, and that's what Saul has done on the defense. And he keeps the guys fresh. He wants to keep these guys fresh as many games as he can. So Falk's gonna get a lot of time in there. I'll tell you what. Falk has speed, especially for a big man like himself, at 6'6", 280 pounds, whatever he is. That dude has speed. Yeah, he needs to work more on finishing against the pass, but especially against the pass rush. But what I've seen on tape, I've looked at him. That dude can absolutely fit on Robert Saleh's defense, and he'll develop over time. Look, the numbers on tape are going to look sexy, but when you look at the guy overall, when you watch him, yeah, that's a guy who you could make impacts every single game. And you mentioned Femi. Femi is going to get a huge role. He looks great this offseason. He's been working out tremendously. What I've heard and what I've spoken, the dude's so ready to go, and he's had nice conversations with Saleh, and he fits Saleh's scheme. So Femi's ready, Falk's ready. So the whole defensive line is going to look better than they did last year.
Yeah, so I don't remember. I don't think I went over the player that. So the player that I think will have the most impact on this team, looking back at this draft class, I think obviously it's going to be Carnell Tate, like what we all have mentioned, but I think it's really hard to choose because I mean almost every player will impact this team. I feel like, well, besides a couple, like the tight end we hadn't really talked about much. I think that was more of just like a let's get this guy pick, right? I don't think that's going to be something that's we'll look back on, but I do think Pat Coogan, Anthony Heal, that's a really good pick in my opinion. I think I'm gonna go with Keldrick Falk, right? I think he's going to be a good defender for this team in the future. I know I just said that I don't think he will be noticeable on that defensive line, but I think over time and as years go by, I think a lot of Titans fans and NFL fans will be able to appreciate what Falk has done for the Titans defense over that time.
Yeah, and after all this Carnell Tate talk, what do y'all think about the recent controversies online of people saying that the Titans should have waited and Mekhi Lemon is the better receiver over Tate?
I disagree. I think that's the same situation with Jordan Tyson. I mean, I think Mekhi Lemon is better than Jordan Tyson, but I don't think Mekhi Lemon is better than Carnell Tate, in my opinion.
I think that I'm glad we picked Carnell Tate. I'm not upset with the pick at all. I will say I do think Carnell Tate has very high bust potential for a top 5 pick. That does worry me. I am nervous that he was not really the wide receiver one at Ohio State, so he was never facing the greatest corners, especially in man-on-man coverage. But he did prove himself in big moments for Ohio State. He seemed to be the kind of guy that they go to, and that's what you want to have. So I'm glad we got Carnell Tate. There's no other receivers I would want more than him. While I do agree for positional value, he might not have been the best. It might have been a reach. But I think we did make the right pick because I thought we had to get Cam Ward some help.
Mhm.
I think that gives it to him. I think the Titans have a great. We don't have a necessarily 1-2 punch like a really really solid like star-studded wide receiver with a good backup. Like we don't have a Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams or Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But when you look at the Titans receiving core, it is a very solid, well-rounded receiving core.
Yeah, they do have Xavier
Yeah.
Restrepo after all.
Who's not going to be on the roster who contributes nothing.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the roster. No, I like Carnell Tate, man, and I know some people say it's a little bit of a reach, but sometimes you're gonna have to get the reach. But I don't think, like Nate said, Carnell Tate was not gonna be there at 5. Carnell Tate was not gonna be there at 6. And the biggest problem was, okay, what offers were on the table? We don't know. I don't know. Nobody else knows. What trade offers were on the table? Maybe Mike Borgonzi didn't get an offer that he liked. Maybe he got a trade back that was way too far, and he's like, nah, I don't really want to go back that far because the prime positions are off the table. Because if you do trade back, you're losing out on also Makai Lemon because Lemon was at that spot, like at that time, yeah, he went 20, but the idea was he was probably going to go somewhere in that top 11. He should have gone earlier. But the thing is, you're going to lose out on a lot more high quality players. That's probably why he didn't want to trade down. But yeah, again, you got Cam Ward a weapon. The thing about Carnell Tate is, I get you didn't go against a lot of better corners in the in Ohio State because Jeremiah Smith mostly got those more than Carnell Tate did. But Carnell Tate showed a lot of good strengths, and he showed a lot of good things that fans do like. But he can play anywhere on the offense, X, Y, Z, wherever he's gonna go. Good route running, good hands. He has some of the best hands coming out of this draft, and honestly, that's huge. And he's a big playmaker, and Cam Ward loves his playmakers. He loves his deep threat wide receivers. That's what Carnell Tate is. Now, here's the thing. If you guys remember, offensive coordinator Brian Dable brought in Malik Neighbors. I'm not saying he's going to be Malik Neighbors type of player, but just that core Dable helping wide receivers. I have faith in Carnell Tate being good for the Titans. I think Brian Dable is going to do good work with them. Alvin Ridley, the same thing, and there's good depth behind you. It's crazy that LXI is like the 4th or 5th receiver on this depth chart now. Same with DK. We got some good receiver depth, so we have to see where this goes. And there's a couple guys in UDFA, and I think Tyron Montgomery might make the roster. I really think he could. So receiver core makes me feel a little bit better after the draft. I know it's a little bit of a reach for Tate. I know saying he's going to maybe bust potential, but I think there's a lot of promise there for Carnell Tate.
Yeah, but that's going to wrap up our talk on the draft discussion here. Now we're going to move into our way too early playoff predictions. We're going to be giving our predictions for division winner and the wild card spots for AFC and NFC. But yeah, we're going to get things started with that right now.
I think the Rams are number 1. I really have faith in Los Angeles. They addressed the one need they needed to get done this offseason in corner. Now, I know some people are going to say, okay, well, Ty Simpson, they drafted him 13, brother. They have great depth on that roster. And look, when you really think about it, at the end of the day, I think Sean McVay's still there. And even though he did lose out on the offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, the Rams will still be a dangerous team. And I think they're going to be better than Seattle. I think they're going to be better than the Niners. I think they're going to be better than obviously the Arizona Cardinals this year. So I really do like the Rams as favorite. I haven't looked their schedule top of my head, but right now, currently at this moment, I really do like them at number 1.
All right, Rams going with the number 1 seed here on the NFC. What would be your number 2 seed pick here?
My number 2 pick in this seed, it's gonna be kind of interesting. But currently, right now, today with this team, I still like the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are still up there. I know it's kind of a hot stretch, but when you're really thinking about it, Philadelphia still has the roster. Now, this is before the A.J. Brown trade. I know obviously things are going to be changing, all that stuff, but I think the Eagles are still up there. Their defense is still good. Their offense needs a little bit more power, right? I mean, Jalen Hurts needs to be more consistent, but I just think with the offense, man, it's with A.J. Brown still today, Eagles are still one of my top 2 teams.
All right, and who would be your 3 spot here for the NFC?
I like the Bears and Caleb Williams, man. Caleb Williams and the Bears. I'm high on that offense. I know they lost out on DJ Moore. They still have a couple holes on their defense. I have to check back on the roster, but I think with a good year three for Caleb, I think he's starting to develop. Ben Johnson's still there. I'm very high on him. I do like him. I really think they're gonna have a really good year. I'm a USC fan, so I'm biased to Caleb Williams, obviously, of course, but I still like him, and I'm expecting Caleb Williams to have a pretty big year for the Bears.
All right. What would be your number 4 spot here?
I like Carolina, man. I really do. Carolina, Bryce Young, I think they can have a better year this year. And you know what? They could be as well at 10-17, 9-8, but Bryce Young, I forgot the head coach's name top of my head, but they have a lot of young core around them. They spent a lot this offseason, and you know what? They can very much be a wild card that spot. The NFC South is just very weird, y'all. It is not going to be the best division. It will never be for a very long time. But Carolina Panthers, unless if something drastically goes wrong, I still expect him to be highly in the mix for the division.
All right. What would be your 5 spot here for the first wild card?
Yeah, my first wild card, I can't rule out the Seattle Seahawks. They still have some questions, but the running game is still kind of interesting. They need to figure that out. I know they got Jarian Price from the Notre Dame Irish, but Seattle Seahawks, they still have a good defense. They did lose on a lot of pieces. I don't think they'll be as good as they did last year. I think they'll sneak in somewhere in there in the top in the bottom three, but I still expect them to be a high core wild card team. I do like Sam Darnold. I think he's going to have another solid year.
Yeah, I agree with that. What would be your number 6 seed?
Number 6, man. It's gonna be a wild card. I do like San Francisco again. You can never rule out San Francisco 49ers. The biggest question is their defense. They lost Alan Sala, which he came to the Titans, thank goodness. But at the end of the day, man, that team's still well rounded. The offense is still good. You just added Mike Evans for Brock Purdy. The offensive line is still pretty solid. So I think the Niners are gonna have another good year. I don't know if they'll get as many wins as the Rams do, and the top three is me pretty competitive. I think through the last at least 4 weeks of the year and the rest of the NFL year. But I feel comfortable putting the San Francisco 49ers in there. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. What would be your last spot here in the NFC for the last wild card spot?
My last spot, man, and this is tough, but I do like Washington Commanders. And the biggest thing is Jaden Daniels. He needs to be healthy this year. That's the biggest thing for Washington. Now, they need to figure out if they're gonna sign another wide receiver on that roster, but if you're just really thinking about it, that roster is still pretty solid. I think they're going to make a compete this year. Jaden Daniels was hurt a lot last year. He had injuries. He had a lot of things go wrong. But if they can stay healthy, if Jaden Daniels can still prove it, I think they'll be a top 7 team in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, what would be your bye week team here for the number 1 seed in the AFC?
I know people want me to say Titans, but we're gonna keep it realistic, of course, and we're gonna keep it calm. Number 1, I really thinking, and there's really no favorite this year for the number 1 seed. I think the Buffalo Bills can really do it this year, and I really think I do like Joe Brady, and I want to put Denver, but I just do not know about Bo Nix yet. I don't know if he's going to start right away. I think it's still the injury troubles, but I think Buffalo Bills are the safest pick right now, right? The Ravens are still have inconsistency. We don't know what's going on. We'll figure out about those guys, but yeah, I really do like Buffalo. I think he finally got a weapon, and you got some corners this offseason. I think they're going to do some damage this year, and I really think in that division, I think it's either them and New England, and right now I do like Buffalo right now. I think they'll win the tiebreaker at the end of the year.
Yeah, good thoughts there. What would be your number 2 seed here for the AFC?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually gonna go AFC North. I am gonna put the Baltimore Ravens here. The reason why Baltimore is I think Jesse Minter is gonna come back up this year. John Harbaugh's gone. It's a new era in Baltimore. I think they will be elite. Trey Hendrickson just got signed over there. I don't think it's still kind of questionable. We'll see what they're gonna do. I do have faith in Lamar Jackson. If he is healthy this year again, another quarterback that was not healthy last year in Lamar Jackson. So if Lamar Jackson can prove himself to be healthy again, I think the Ravens are going to take another stride in 2026. I think they can get up maybe to 12, maybe 11, 12 wins is probably the max for them this year, and I think they can I think they can make it this year.
Yeah, what would be your 3 spot here?
Yeah, people are not gonna like this, man. But Jacksonville Jaguars, I hate to say it, I don't like it at all. It makes me sick. But the Jags are still a good team, unfortunately. And Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen, that's still a good roster. I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, I want to put the Texans, but the Texans, C.J. Stroud did not have a great year to end the year last year. And I feel more confident than the Jags right now. I think that offense has a lot of horsepower. They ended off the year right, and they lost to the Bills in the playoffs. And I think Liam Cohen's hungry in year number 2. I think Lawrence is hungry. They did not have a great draft, though. That is my thing, though, with Jacksonville. They did not have a good draft, but again, I think either 3 or 4, it's really replaceable. But I still think at this moment right now, they'll still win the South.
I could see where you're coming from there, but I disagree with you just a little bit. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. But what would be your 4 spot here?
Yeah, the last division is I'm gonna put the Los Angeles Chargers. I really do like the
Ooh.
Los Angeles Chargers here. I think Justin Herbert's gonna have a big year. Um, I think the offensive line is finally getting their 2 offensive tackles back with Alt and Slater. And I think those guys are going to have a good year. He still got some good weapons around him. The defense is still questionable for Los Angeles, but I still think the Chargers are going to be pretty competitive and finally win the West. They've not done it in a very long time. And obviously, Bo Nix's injury is still very concerning for Denver, and they have to figure out what's going on with that. But right now, currently, I do like the Chargers at number 4.
All right, who would you pick number 5 here for the first wild card spot in the AFC?
Yeah, 5, I am actually going to put Denver. And the thing is, it can really change 4 and 5. But right now, I think in somewhere in that space is comfortable. We don't know what's going on with Bo Nix. He had an injury. He might miss some of the year. But I think if Bo Nix is going to start, and, I think if he is going to be the same Bo Nix as last year, yeah, the Broncos are still going to be dangerous. They still have weapons everywhere on that team. They still have a good coach, and Sean Payton blanked his name for a second, but I still think Denver's gonna be good. I think they're all around still a good football team. They almost went to the Super Bowl last year if it wasn't for the Patriots. But currently right now, Denver's at number 5.
Yeah, who would you have number 6 here?
Patriots. Look, I'll say this. We don't know what's going on the Vrabel situation. We don't want to talk about that. It's not great, but really at the same time, Patriots are still Patriots. Drake May's still good. The Patriots are still solid. They're going to be somewhere in there, and I can see them maybe in the top 4, but I think right now just they have some noise going on around that building they need to figure out. They had a pretty decent draft. They still need to figure out some weapons, but they lost Stephon Diggs, but that defense still has a little bit of holes in them. But I think Drake May is still gonna be Drake May. I think he's gonna have a good year number 3.
All right, who would you have for the last spot in the AFC playoffs here?
People are gonna call me crazy, and I'm not trying to be biased. But I'm going with the boys in the two-tone blue. I think Robert Saleh is gonna turn it around this year. I think this is gonna be Robert Saleh's year. Look, the reason why he's number 7 is because yes, we need to prove it. Number 1, that's the biggest thing the Titans need to do is prove to be in this spot. But if the Titans look, I really am thinking they can really be out here. I really think the Tennessee Titans can go to the playoffs. I think they can compete this year with the defense. I think there's a lot of good pieces around, a lot of young pieces on this offense. Again, that could be good and bad, but there's a lot of veterans, and I really have faith in the Titans, and it'll be nice to see them in the playoffs for once. We've not seen it in a very long time.
First game here, we got the number 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 7 seed Washington Commanders.
Yeah, Eagles is still my pick
Eagles.
today. I still think Eagles, yeah.
Next game here, we got the 3 seed Chicago Bears taking on the 6 seed San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, this I want to go upset. I'm going Niners here. I do like San Fran here, man. I still do.
Then the last spot for the NFC wildcard weekend, we got the number 4 seed Carolina Panthers taking on the number 5 Seattle Seahawks.
I think Bryce Young gets the job done this year.
Wow.
He's gonna get it. I like Bryce Young this year. He's gonna do it.
Then starting off with the AFC games here, this one's very interesting. We got the number 2 seed Baltimore Ravens taking on the 7 seed Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Baltimore's got this one, man. I think the run, it was a really good run. I want to pick Tennessee as much as I can, but I can't be biased today. But I do think the Titans will put up a good fight. I just think just that offense is just way over. That offense will just Lamar Jackson just does unbelievable things to the Titans every damn year. It's so annoying.
Yeah, moving into the second one, we got the 3 seed Jacksonville Jaguars and the 6 seed New England Patriots.
It's something with the 6th seed for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're gonna get upset again by the New England Patriots this time around.
Then we got the number 4 seed Chargers against the number 5 seed Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I do think if this is Bo Nix's coming back, I do think the Denver Broncos would be at this spot.
All right, and then for the NFC games, we got the 1 seed Rams against the 4 seed Niners.
Rams. I'm still picking the Rams right now.
And then we got the Eagles against the I about said Patriots. We got the Eagles against the Panthers.
It's tough, man, but I am gonna go smart pick and pick Eagles right now over here. This one, right today.
All right, and then for the AFC side, we got the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots.
Josh Allen's gonna do something this year. I have a feeling. I think he's gonna do it.
And then for the last game in the AFC divisional round, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos.
I do like Baltimore Ravens. I do like Baltimore Ravens
Going
and Lamar
Ravens.
Jackson.
Wow.
I'm going Ravens. I'm going Ravens.
Moving into the championship weekend, we got the Rams and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game in LA.
I'm going LA.
Going LA.
I'm going LA.
And then the Buffalo Bills, their first year in their new stadium, hosting the AFC Championship game in Buffalo. Do you have the Bills taking it to the Super Bowl or the Baltimore Ravens?
I have the Bills, man.
Got the
I have
Bills.
the Bills taking it. The Bills, that new stadium. That's going to be a nice stadium, too, by the way.
It will. And then we got the Super Bowl matchup here. We got the Los Angeles Rams against the Buffalo Bills here, 2 number 1 seeds.
And it's in Los Angeles this year.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going Los Angeles. They're going to do it again. They're going to get another Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford is going to get another ring, and then he's going to stay for a couple more years. But the Rams right now, currently today, are my Super Bowl champions.
This is going to be a little shocking from one of the great franchises to years, decades of sadness. The Chicago Bears are going to reclaim the top of the NFC and are becoming the number 1 seed.
Watch, now that Luke is on the Bears side, they're about to go.
Yeah, they're gonna go 0-17 now.
That's the Bears curse. The Bear and Luke.
Bears.
I really do think the Bears are going to have a very solid team this year. I think Caleb Williams is only going to get better with more experience.
Yeah.
I think the Bears are really scary. My number 2 seed is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. I think this is it. This is the year. Their window is closing. If there is ever a year, it is this year. And the Rams, their franchises, it's not like they're in one of the most desperate situations to win now, because looking forward the next 3-4 years for the Rams, it's not looking good for them in their roster and their cap situation. My number 3 seed is a little bit surprising here. I'm going to go with the NFC East. It's not going to be the Commanders. I think they caught lightning in the bottle. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. I think that this team, give me America's team. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott. Feels like every year before he always gets hurt, we're like, all right, Dak Prescott. I mean, he's in talks for the MVP. Then he gets hurt. Then the Cowboys choke. Then they suck. I think if they can get every cohesive unit on now, the Cowboys have a shot. Give me the Cowboys. And rounding out for the NFC South, I agree with you, Jackson. This is probably the weakest division. Definitely the NFC, if not in football as a whole. But I'm not going to go with the Panthers. I think this is a boom or bust year for the Panthers, and I think they're going to bust. Not going to go with the Falcons because, well, Evan's clueless, and he picked that franchise, so there's no way they can make the playoffs. And the Buccaneers, if they didn't make the playoffs last year, you think they're going to make the playoffs this year? When I think they got worse as a team? Which leaves me with Tyler Shuck and the New Orleans Saints. I think that they're a gritty group, well coached, and I think they're going to become the 4th seed in the playoffs.
Andrew's going to be
now moving on. Moving on, I do think he played well. The Saints had a better second half of the season than most people would expect. Going on to the wild card, the 5 seed San Francisco 49ers. They're there once again. Kyle Shanahan's got his squad no matter how hurt they are throughout the season. 49ers are going to be there in December. The 6th seed is the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. I think they hit their ceiling. They played as well as they possibly could last year. They're going to take a step down, but they're still going to be in the playoffs. And rounding out my last team, I've got some notable teams on the outside looking in right now. The Lions, they're not going to make the playoffs. The Eagles, they're not going to make the playoffs. My playoff team, my 7th seed, is the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers find a way. They are a winning football team. They have a winning culture. I think Matt LaFleur is going to once again have them ready to go, and I think they're going to find their way into the playoffs. They're my 7th seed. Now, switching over to the AFC. AFC, I'm going to do this one a little different, all right? We're going to start with the 2 seed. The 2 seed is going to be the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, I think, is a good team. I think they're going to win the East, right? The 2 seed's the Bills. The 3 seed, the winner coming out of the NFC North, I think is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. I think if they are healthy, the Bengals are one of the toughest teams to beat in football. If Joe Burrow can find his passion for the game of football, God bless the rest of the league. We're going to jump down to my 5th seed. My 5th seed is going to be the Broncos. I think, like the Seahawks, they sort of had their best, they hit their ceiling last year. But I think Bo Nix can improve. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that injury, as that is a tough injury to come back from. The 6th seed is a little surprising here. I do think the Steelers make the playoffs. I do think Aaron Rodgers comes back for one more year. I think their defense alone is going to help them out. I don't think Aaron Rodgers was the problem last year. Aaron Rodgers, I don't even think mobility issues was really the cause of the Steelers going down. I think the cause of the Steelers going down was just inconsistent play by their offense and by their secondary. So they're my 6th seed. My 7th seed is Harbaugh and the Chargers. I think find a way to get back in the playoffs again. If they have a good offensive line, folks, look at how they got to the playoffs last year. If they have a good offensive line, the Chargers could be a very scary team. So we have 2 seeds left, the 1 and the 4. All right. The number 1 seed in the NFL. Ravens? No. The Ravens aren't making the playoffs. The Ravens' window is over. The Super Bowl running up New England Patriots. No. I don't think the Patriots are. Jackson, you didn't want to touch on it. I will, because it's part of the NFL story. I think Mike Vrabel has an open affair with his wife, and I think it really is going to cost him. I think there's so many off-the-field issues going on with the Patriots that I think it's going to affect their on-the-field play. I think they're going to go into a slump. You saw teams like the Commanders this last season. They make it to the Super Bowl, then they don't make the playoffs. The Bengals, they made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Now, look, they went on a stretch where they had a little rough stretch. I think teams like that, coming off of these great seasons, sort of have some slumps. I don't think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. The number 1 seed in the NFL is going to be the return of the chosen one, the return of the future GOAT, the return of the bright one, the return of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs reclaim the AFC and become the number 1 seed. Now, get to everyone's question. Who is the 4 seed? Who? Coming out of the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts. Nope. Don't think Daniel Jones is that guy. I think he robbed the Colts franchise. I think the Colts missed the playoffs, and I think Colts finished last. Up next, C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, obviously, he's shown us that he is not good at football. And I firmly stand by that statement. The Texans, I just don't think they have the team that can make the playoffs this year. I think they really turned it around last year after starting 0-4. I don't think they're going to have the same luck this year. Which leaves us with two teams. Do we have the Tennessee Titans on one hand, and we have the team with the greatest punter in NFL history, Logan
Oh
Cook, the
no!
Jacksonville
Don't get me
Jaguars.
started. Do not get me
No,
started
no,
with this
no.
again.
I know what
This
you're
is a
gonna do.
Titan podcast. Give me the Tennessee
Yeah.
Titans to make the playoffs in Cam Ward's playoff debut.
All right, rounding
It's
or
a home game too.
yeah, it would be. Starting with the Super Bowl bracket, we're going to start with the NFC side. We got the number 2 Los Angeles Rams taking on the visiting Green Bay Packers.
This is a tough matchup for the Rams, especially in December. The Packers are always a capable team, able to deal a blow, but not this time. Give me the Rams.
Up next, we
I
have
think this could also be a sneaky retirement season for Matthew Stafford.
it could. I thought he was done after this year, to be honest. I thought he was done after this MVP
He won
award he
the
got.
MVP. You can't go out winning the MVP.
Yeah, moving into your next, we have, it looks like it's the number 6 seed, Seattle Seahawks, traveling to the number 3 Dallas Cowboys.
Once again, this could be a good matchup here. The Seahawks versus the Cowboys. I really don't think the Seahawks are going to go another deep playoff run. Give me Dallas.
All right, moving into the last of the NFC games, we got the number 4 seed New Orleans Saints taking on the visiting San Francisco 49ers.
I don't think the home teams are going to sweep. I think this is one where the away team's going to get the best of them. Give me the Niners.
Starting off with the AFC side, we have the number 2 seed Bills taking on the number 7 Los Angeles Chargers.
Bills.
Moving into the second, we got an AFC North divisional showdown. We got the visiting Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals.
I just think the Steelers are going to be sneakily good, and I don't think they're going to be flashy. I don't think they're going to be the Chiefs or the Bills of old. I think they're going to keep games competitive. I think they're an old squad. They're going to be battle tested, and I think they're going to be able to win games whenever it comes down to the wire. I'm going to take the upset here. Give me the Steelers.
Moving into the last of the AFC games here on the wild card weekend, we got the number 5 seed Denver Broncos traveling to Nashville to take on Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans.
Cam Ward's playoff debut not going to be a good one, just like his NFL debut. Give me the Broncos.
Starting off with the first of the divisional games, we got the Bears and the 49ers in Chicago.
Bears Niners. Ooh, man, I could go with some Bears Niners sitting here on a spring Thursday evening. Oh, this is just, I love this. Give me the Bears.
The Bears. Then we got the number 2 Los Angeles Rams taking on the visiting Cowboys.
Rams.
Then starting with the AFC side, we got the Steelers traveling to Kansas City to take on Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Then the last of the AFC divisional, we got the Denver Broncos traveling to the Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
With what the championship weekend, the NFC championship, we got the number 1 seed Chicago Bears hosting the LA Rams.
See, little storylines coming into play. Remember last year how crazy that game was? I think the Rams get the better of them this time. Give me the Rams.
Moving into the last of the AFC side of the bracket, we got the AFC championship. We got the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs yet again meeting in the playoffs. Just whenever we get a AFC champion or the AFC playoff game between these two, it's sure to be history that we look back on for years to come. Who do you have here, Luke?
This right here, this is, I mean, my mother doesn't really even know what a field goal is. But if I tell her Patrick Mahomes is playing the Buffalo Bills, she's probably going to watch the football game because there's no other better word to describe it than aura. That's the greatest word to describe what this matchup means. Oh man, would that be just an instant classic? And let me tell you this right now: if Kansas City, if this Josh Allen, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go out there and say it. Josh Allen's last playoff performance against the Denver Broncos, Joe, we need to have serious conversations on how we evaluate Josh Allen, where we put him in the echelon of NFL quarterbacks. If he does not win this game right here, I promise you, Josh Allen will be disrespected in households across America. I don't think he's going to win. Give me Kansas City at Arrowhead.
And then for his Super Bowl matchup, we got the ketchup and mustard combo here. We got the LA Rams hosting in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Look, what a matchup here. Remember that crazy Monday Night Football game, one of the greatest games in NFL history? This is the rematch, right? Those two teams. Here they are again. Matthew Stafford, the battle-tested Rams versus the old guys who just never go away. Taylor Swift in attendance. You can see it now. Travis Kelce, he's old as time and touched together. Andy Reid, his fat belly sticking out and his mustache growing longer than ever, and Patrick Mahomes. This is just a Super Bowl matchup you dream about. Two great coaches, great quarterbacks. Everything about this game will be spectacular. Give me Patrick Mahomes to get his next ring.
That's a hot take in my opinion. And you'll see our prediction here now. It's going to be a little bit different than both of y'all's. It might be a little...
A hot take, mate?
In my opinion,
the greatest football player on the greatest football player on the planet winning a Super Bowl. How is that a hot take?
I see them making the playoffs, but I don't.
You think
see
they
them
make
winning.
the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't have them making the playoffs.
That's I didn't
I
listen
have
to
them
that
making
game.
wild card.
Okay,
Ooh.
that's kind of a hot take. For
That's
the
a hot take too.
first
Maybe
seed,
just me and Evan
Easy.
no ball.
The Rams.
Rams, that's what I was thinking too. Rams number 1. Number 2 here, this one's interesting.
I have a kind of hot take. I believe that the Bucks are going to be really good next year.
Ooh, I disagree with you there. I don't think the Bucks at 2?
Not at 2, probably at 3.
I think the Bears are 2 here. What do you think?
I disagree with the Bears.
Alright, let's do separate ones. I feel like we're on the different tracks here.
Yeah,
I'm going to breeze by mine real quick. I think Rams 2, I got Rams 1, Bears 2. 3, I got the Dallas Cowboys. And then 4, I got the Carolina Panthers.
We're on different tracks.
Yeah. Number 5, I got the Seattle Seahawks. Number 6, I got the Detroit Lions. Number 7, I got the San Francisco 49ers. And you might be wondering, where's the Philadelphia Eagles? I do not think the Eagles are making the playoffs this year. I think they are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL currently. I do not think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, and I think their offense will struggle a lot this year. Mm-hmm. Then starting off with my AFC side of the bracket, I do think the Denver Broncos will return and get that number 1 seed yet again with that incredible defense of theirs. Then for the number 2 seed here, I do think the Cincinnati Bengals will be the number 2 seed in the AFC side of the bracket. The 3rd seed here, this is interesting. I think it will be the Buffalo Bills, number 3. And then number 4, I'm going to save that one for last. Number 5, this one's very interesting. I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars here sitting at number 5. Number 6, I have the... You know what? I got the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? I'll take that back. I think they will make the playoffs low here, though. I think it's 6. And then number 7, the last spot in the wild cards here, I'm going to give it to the Pittsburgh... Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, actually. Well, no. Hold on. I'm going to give it to the Texans. I think the Texans will make the playoffs barely by like 1 game over the Steelers. I think the only way they get in is because of that defense of theirs and how great it is as well. Number 4, saved it for last for a reason. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans. We're going to win the division yet again in the AFC South. We're going to bring division-winning football back to Tennessee. Starting off here with the NFC side of the bracket, we got the Bears, Niners in Chicago. I got the Bears here. Then I got the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys here. This one would be very interesting to see, but I got the Dallas Cowboys here. And then the NFC wildcard games, I got the Seattle Seahawks beating the Carolina Panthers. And on the AFC side, I got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Houston Texans. I got the Bengals here. Then, like we mentioned before, I do have the Chiefs and Bills meeting up in the playoffs, but in a wild card matchup here. And I do think Josh Allen will get the win over Mahomes this time and beat him, I think, for the first time in the playoffs, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be? Or was there another time?
Yeah.
Mahomes, yeah.
No, he's never made him. Playoffs.
No.
And then this one, I really hope this comes true. I want to see the Tennessee Titans face off against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Nashville. I got the Titans by 30 in this game. Give me Cam Ward having a breakout game here. And then we got the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round. I got the LA Rams getting the better of the Seahawks this time. And then for the last of the NFC divisional, I got the Chicago Bears getting the better of the Cowboys. Then up next, I got the Denver Broncos and the Tennessee. Or you know what? I'm going to say that one for last. I'm going to take Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals over the Buffalo Bills here. I think their offense is the best in the league with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. This one, y'all are going to call me crazy, but I have the Tennessee Titans beating the Denver Broncos here.
Knew it.
I do think they're going to beat the Broncos. This is going to shock a lot of people, I know, but the cards laying here, I just think it's in place. And with Bo Nix's injury, you've seen his leg. It does not look the greatest. And then Sean Payton, will he take a step back here coaching? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But for the NFC side, I have the Los Angeles Rams beating the Chicago Bears, making the playoffs like we all have had so far. Then the last, but certainly not least, AFC Championship. What should have been the championship game a couple years ago, but it didn't happen. We got the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Tennessee Titans in Cam Ward's AFC Championship debut. For the Cincinnati Bengals, I think the Bengals will lose this game. I think the Titans are making the Super Bowl here. And I think they set up a rematch of Super Bowl, 26, 28. They've got the Los Angeles Rams, Tennessee Titans in LA. This time, man, I don't think we're 1 yard short. I think we get the Tennessee Titans, their first ever Super Bowl ring. Cam Ward, Super Bowl MVP. Mark it in the books. It's going to happen. Titans winning the Super Bowl this year in 2027. Coming up soon. But yeah, that's
how much money are you putting on that?
Oh, like 2 pennies. But hey, I mean, I hope it happens. I mean,
all right,
we all hope so.
Now for the realistic bracket.
That's realistic. I mean, just watch out. Watch out.
All right, so first I'm going to have the Rams. Second, I'm going to have the Cowboys. Third, it hurts, but the Bucks. I think that they have the pieces. Ruben Bain, I feel like, is going to have a pretty good year. They still have Baker. They have a pretty good team overall, I believe. And I feel like they're barely going to beat out the Falcons for it. Third,
fourth,
I think the Detroit Lions. All right, next, the Atlanta Falcons. I think they have a good team. Their defense is pretty well rounded. They have pretty good weapons, Bijan, Drake London. And Tua's going to have 50-50 shot. Ruben Bain either gives him a concussion the first time that they play, or Tua has his best season.
I'm just going to go out here and say I'm glad that we did separate, because this is that I would never in a million years have thought this was going to happen. What's your number 6 here?
All right, next I'm going to have the Seahawks. And last is also going to be a take. I feel like Nate is going to hate this one, but the Giants.
All right, got them injury-prone Giants at number 7. For the AFC, who do you have for your number 1 seed?
AFC, this one's pretty simple. I think the Broncos. I think AFC, we're going to be pretty similar. Second, Bengals. Third is the Bills. Fourth, probably the Texans. They're the most well-rounded. Next, I think is going to be the Titans.
Nope. Wrong circle logo.
The Tennessee Steelers. Alright. Next, the Ravens. I hate to say it, but I think the Raiders are 7.
Whoa! Whoa. Raiders?
Fernando Mendoza making play.
I feel like Mendoza makes some plays. I think that he's going to have to fight with Kirk Cousins to start, but if he does, I feel like there's a chance.
You said Raiders, not Ravens, right?
Yeah, Raiders.
Okay.
I'll take.
Wow.
Sure.
All right, so here's your Super Bowl bracket. We got the NFC East Divisional Showdown, Cowboys and Giants.
Cowboys.
Then we got the Buccaneers and Seahawks.
I think that the Seahawks are definitely not going to be as good this year, especially losing Kenneth Walker. He really carried during the Super Bowl. I think the Bucs.
And then we got the Detroit Lions and Atlanta Falcons in Detroit.
Definitely going to be... I'm going to guess best case scenario, Falcons.
And then we got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Las Vegas Raiders, a
Bengals
matchup.
by a mile.
A matchup from a couple years ago. This is the game that the Bengals wanted to take on the Titans.
Yeah, this is
that we
by
should
a
have won.
mile. This one, the Bills and Ravens, that would be really good. I feel like the Bills. And then lastly, Titans versus Texans. I think the Titans.
Then we got the Rams and Falcons.
Sadly, the Rams are going to stop the Falcons.
Then we got the Cowboys and Bucks.
Cowboys are going to beat the Bucks.
Then we got Broncos and Titans.
I think that Cam Ward has a really good run this season, but I don't think he's good enough to beat the Broncos.
Then we got Joe Burrow against Josh Allen in the divisional round.
I think this is going to be the game where everyone sees Josh Allen is a fraud. He's good, but he is not a franchise quarterback. The Bengals.
And then the NFC Championship, you got the Los Angeles Rams against the Dallas Cowboys.
I think that the Rams.
And then you have the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Also another really good game. I think that the Bengals.
Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago.
This might also be a crazy take, but I think the Bengals.
Bengals winning the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, I hope it happens. I mean, I like the Bengals. I think they're underrated too, and man, that offense, man, it's just hard to see any defense stopping them.
Yeah.
But there you have it. That is all of our Super Bowl predictions. Way too early here. We got Jackson thinking the Los Angeles Rams get the win. We got Luke also agreeing with him thinking the Los Angeles Rams get the win. Got Evan, the first different pick.
No, I said Chiefs.
He said Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, you
he
said Chiefs.
Yeah, he's a Swiftie, remember?
He said Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And then we got Evan saying the Cincinnati Bengals here over the Rams. And then I have the Tennessee Titans winning the Super Bowl in the 2026 season. That's going to wrap up this first ever episode of the Titan Roundtable. Thank y'all for joining us here for this first ever episode. We're going to try to have everybody back here for the second episode. I know we've had some scheduling issues as of late, but finally got the first episode out. But we will catch y'all next time for the episode 2.